Imagine, if you will, a portal where ancient mythology awakens and forgotten stories are told. As you listen, drift beyond the dimensions of what you know and explore the metaphysical bounds of imagination. Subscribe if you dare, as we uncover the mysterious and forbidden. Because in this maze of myths, each twist and turn brings you closer to the unknown. Now enter the Myth Lab. The terrifying tale of the dancing plague of 1518. The Dancing Plague of 1518 is a historical event that occurred in the city of Strasbourg in the Alsace region of France. While the details of the event may seem bizarre, it was a well-documented phenomenon that has puzzled historians and medical experts for centuries. The incident began July 1518, when a woman named Frau Troffea began dancing uncontrollably in the streets of Strasbourg. One hot day in July, she stepped outside of her modest home and onto the cobblestone streets, her movements jerky and erratic. To the astonishment of onlookers, she began to dance, a wild, frenzied dance that seemed to possess her body and soul. At first, passerbys chuckled and pointed, assuming Frau was simply overcome with a bout of eccentricity. But as the hours passed, Frau showed no signs of stopping. Their laughter turned to concern. The woman's face was contorted with pain, her eyes wide with terror, yet she still danced on, her body writhing in a grotesque parody of joy. Word of Frau Troffea's strange affliction spread like wildfire through the city, and soon curious crowds gathered to witness the spectacle. But as they watched, something inexplicable happened. They too began to feel the irresistible urge to dance. Men and women, young and old, rich and poor, all were drawn into the swirling vortex of movement that had engulfed the city. As the days turned into weeks, the situation in Strasbourg grew increasingly dire. The dancing throngs filled the streets, their bodies drenched in sweat, their limbs flailing wildly as if possessed by some unseen force. Some danced until they collapsed from exhaustion, only to rise again and assume their frenzied movements. Others danced until their feet bled and their muscles screamed in protest, yet they could not stop. The authorities were at a loss for how to respond to the epidemic of dancing that had overtaken their city. Some believed it was a divine punishment, while others suspected foul play or demonic possession. Doctors and scholars offered various explanations, from overheated blood to mass hysteria, but none could provide a satisfactory answer. In a desperate attempt to quell the madness, the city council imposed strict regulations on the dancers. They banned music and dancing in public, hoping to starve the frenzy of its fuel. But the measures only seemed to exacerbate the problem, driving the afflicted to dance in even greater numbers and with even greater intensity. As the epidemic raged on, the toll on the city became increasingly apparent. Fields lay fallow, shops closed their doors, and the once thriving city of Strasbourg descended into chaos and despair. Yet still the dancers danced on, heedless of the devastation they wrought. Then, as suddenly as it began, the dancing plague came to an end. By some accounts, it lasted for as long as 2 months, before the afflicted finally collapsed from exhaustion or succumbed to their injuries. Others claimed it lasted for as little as few days before fading away as mysteriously as it had appeared. To this day, the dancing plague of 1518 remains one of history's most enduring mysteries. Was it a case of mass hysteria brought on by the stresses and anxieties of life in a turbulent and uncertain world? Or was it something more sinister? A curse, a divine punishment, or a supernatural phenomenon beyond human understanding? Whatever the true cause, the events of that fateful summer in Stroudsburg serve as a chilling reminder of the fragility of the human mind and the power of mass delusion.
And that concludes another tale from the Myth Lab. Thank you to the Myth Mob community. If you've enjoyed this story, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and join our Patreon for exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Travel into another episode for more epics. So until we meet again, may the moonlight guide your path to the Myth Lab.